Good morning, everybody. All right, NLP manipulation, how to read people. Now, this is a conversation, this is a topic that gets people a bit worked up, especially when it comes to NLP, because it has a reputation for being manipulative. So, if you want to be able to read people and read what they're communicating without their words, keep watching because we're going to dive deep into this. All right, I'm gonna try to adjust my cameras a little bit here. Not perfect, but it'll do. Okay, so my name is Damon Cart. This is Life Mastery Gym. I've been studying and teaching and practicing Neuro Linguistic Programming for several years, and I basically help people master every area of their life. I mostly use NLP because I found it to be the most effective methodology out there. Of course, I don't limit myself to NLP. I'm not a preacher for NLP, but I'm certainly an advocate for it. But more importantly, I'm an advocate for people living the life that they want to live, the life that they know they have inside of them that they're not living. So that's what I help people do. So in this video, I'm going to teach you ways to observe and listen for nonverbal communication, which is far more powerful than the words we speak or the words we hear from people. And I'm also going to talk about how it relates to manipulation. If any of you are big fans of Robert Greene, who has written The 48 Laws of Power, Mastery, and the Laws of Human Nature, you have heard him talk about nonverbal communication and how powerful it is. And if you have your senses tuned to people's nonverbal communication, this is far more powerful. You have a clear advantage over everyone else. And so that's kind of where we get into the manipulation part. Before I jump into all of this, though, I want to make sure everyone's aware. Enrollment for my NLP online practitioner training, the ultimate online NLP practitioner training, is open right now. It will be open for another week, but if you get in today, and I mean by like tonight at midnight, you will save $300, and we all want to save money, right? And you get all of the bonuses that are being offered. Some of the bonuses will go away. It'll also be more expensive if you wait till after today to sign up. So get in now. The link is right below this video in the description. Just click on it, and if you want to learn more about it too, there's more information on that when you click the link that will tell you more about what's being offered in the program. It's the most bonus-packed, value-packed enrollment I've ever offered. This program just keeps getting better, and you'll get my guidance, my personal guidance, getting those NLP skills down and cultivating those NLP skills. I spared nothing in creating this practitioner training. It's based on 24 days, and like I said, you get my personal guidance in this. We do group coaching calls, and I give ongoing support, and you get lifetime access. All right, so let's tackle manipulation first, because I think what goes wrong a lot of times is not being clear about what we're talking about here, because it's a controversial topic. It's controversial with NLP. It's what makes NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, controversial. And I did a video about manipulation before. It's actually one of my highest viewed videos, but it's also the most polarizing video. I think people who really wanted to learn how to like really manipulate people in the way that like harming people were disappointed, because I don't do that. I won't teach that. It will backfire on you if that's what you're after. So it's not good for anyone. It's not good for you, and it's not good for anyone you're manipulating. And then people who didn't really watch the video got upset with me that I would even put a video out there, what sounded like I was advocating manipulation. So we should talk about what manipulation means first, because for most people it is a bad word, but everything is perception. I mean, you can look at anything and we don't see things objectively. All of our reality is subjective, so it's all in really how you look at it. So think about it like this: you cannot not communicate, whether you're conscious of it or it's unconscious. You're always communicating, especially non-verbally. So therefore, you're always influencing. But if you're influencing, and the majority of the time you're influencing, you're not aware of how you're influencing, then you could be manipulative in a harmful way and not even realize it. So it's good to understand how this is happening. So, like I said, most people are not even aware that this is why they're not getting what they want. They don't understand how their nonverbal communication, how the communication that they're putting out there could actually be influencing others to not give them what they want. And this is what I find so common if we're not aware of how we do things. If most of what we're doing and how we're communicating is unconscious, getting what you want is basically haphazard. But if you become more aware of how you're doing all of this, then you can be more precise about getting what you want. It's like trying to run a business without using math and accounting, or running a business and using numbers and math and accounting to figure out your profits and where your marketing dollars are going to, and what marketing dollars are actually producing results. It's similar to that. So the truth is, people this is going to get me into some trouble. People love to be manipulated. Why do you think we spend so much money on entertainment? We want to be manipulated when we go see a movie. We want our emotions and our senses manipulated. We want to be around people who make us feel good. And in a sense, we're seeking manipulation from other people in that we choose to be around the people who make us feel good. And I guess in some cases, people choose to be around people that make them feel bad, but that's a different story. That's a different issue altogether. So if you really think about it, we crave experience, but we crave having our experiences manipulated in a good way. We want that. And so if you look at manipulation that way, it becomes kind of a different thing. And so here's another way of looking at it. Virginia Satir, probably the greatest family therapist who ever lived, a good chunk of NLP was modeled from her. The founders of NLP spent a lot of time with her, modeling her how she did what she did, and she was amazing. She could take entire families through transformation. She really shed a light on how we're bringing our family constellations everywhere with us all the time and recreating it, projecting it onto the world around us, and constantly recreating it in our relationships. And so Bandler and Grinder were able to watch her for long enough and then extract the structure of what she was doing and model her. And they knew they had a profound model that worked because they could replicate her success. Not saying that they were necessarily as successful as her or could make other people as successful as her at family therapy, but they definitely got results that they weren't getting before. And then they brought this to Virginia and said, okay, so we figured it out that here's what you're doing. And they rolled it out for her. And then her response to it was, now I can't do this anymore. Now I know what it is that I do. So if I do it now, it's manipulation. So to her, just by being conscious of what she was already doing successfully, she felt as a therapist, just being conscious of it and then doing it consciously rather than unconsciously, that made it manipulative, which is a very strange thing if you think about it. How is it suddenly manipulative just because I know I'm doing it? Actually, it's probably more manipulative if I don't know what I'm doing. Think about kids. Kids, when they want something, they can be manipulative, and sometimes we can see them trying to be manipulative because we know what they're up to, and we can say, "Oh, that's really cute." But they're not so conscious of what they're doing. They're just trying to get what they want. Now, what happens if they keep building on that strategy and they're still not conscious of it? They just know that they're finding more and more ways to get what they want. And so then they get later in life, they become adults and they're still doing this unconsciously. Maybe it's even like passive aggressive behavior to get people to do what they want. Now, if you could go to that person and wake them up to what it is that they're doing, and they could be conscious of it, and then they can go, "Oh, wow, that's not right what I'm doing. That strategy is a bad strategy. I'm making people feel bad so that they give me what I want." Well, if you could wake that person up to that, then they would stop probably, and they would say, "Okay, yeah, that now I know why I've been burning all of these relationships, burning all of these bridges." And maybe there's still something useful and valuable about his or her strategy, but now because they're conscious of it, they can do it in a way, they can execute that strategy without hurting people, without being passive aggressive. So is it manipulation? Well, technically, yeah, it still is. But if he's conscious of what he's doing or she's conscious of what she's doing, he or she can do it in a way that leads people to positive states rather than negative states. And now he or she can do it in a way where there's a win-win situation rather than just give me what I want and get out of my way. So whether or not you call it manipulation, we're all doing it. We're all influencing others. We're doing it consciously and unconsciously. And to me, the more conscious we are of it, the more we can do it without hurting people. And that's the overall goal. If you're getting what you want and you're having to hurt people to do it, if you're having to deceive people to do it, it's going to backfire on you. It's not it's not really what you want. So the more conscious you can be of this, of how you're already manipulating, the better you can do it without hurting people. So does the just the awareness of you influencing suddenly make you manipulative? I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. And as long as you're manipulating and influencing or persuading people to experience what they want and you get what you want, is there anything really wrong with that? I don't think so. I mean, that's what sales is. Somebody comes into a sales situation and you make a presentation, you have a solution for something it is that they need, or maybe you have something that they want. You show them how you can deliver on that. They make it modifies their behavior because now they buy something, and then now you're both happy. Technically, you could call that manipulation, but if you fulfill your promise, there's no harm in it. So, all right, that's my soapbox. That's my disclaimer because anytime I talk about this, I piss people off, and that's not my objective here. My objective, though, is maybe to disrupt your thinking about this. I do want to disrupt you, but in a good way, so that you have greater awareness. All right, so let's talk about nonverbal communication and how you're going to read nonverbal communication. For those of you who are just joining, we're talking about manipulation and how to read people and nonverbal communication. And also, my NLP online practitioner training is the enrollment is open now. And if you get in now, today, before midnight, Sunday, before midnight, you will save $300 and you'll get to take advantage of all of the bonuses that are out there. If you wait till if you wait until after today, you will pay more and you won't get as many bonuses. So best to just get in now. If you click the link in the description, it will bring you to the page and it'll explain everything that's in the program. All right, back to reading people. What I like to say about this is it's more about the looking and the listening, especially when you're first getting started, than it is about the seeing and the hearing. Okay, so I'll explain exactly what I mean here. In NLP, the first thing you learn, or one of the first things you learn, is sensory acuity and calibration. And if you ask me, not enough people spend enough time, not enough NLP students spend enough time on sensory acuity and calibration. And it's one of the reasons why I added additional training as a bonus in my practitioner training on sensory acuity and calibration, because it's so, so important. When you start looking at people's nonverbals and you start asking yourself, what is it they're communicating that's not coming out in their words? It will start to open up an entirely new world for you. So it's more, instead of listening to a word and making sense of the word and taking that person at their word, or maybe not taking that person at their word and thinking to yourself, no, they're not telling me the truth. It's looking at their skin tone and seeing how it changes or stays the same. It's looking at the micro movements in the muscles in their face. It's about listening to their breathing. It's about watching their breathing. It's about looking at their posture, watching their eye movements. I'm going to do a video on eye movements soon. When you start watching all this stuff and you listen to how their tonality changes, you listen to how they emphasize certain words. When you start listening and looking for these things, you First of all, there's gonna be some frustration because you're gonna be like, "Well, I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what I'm listening for," and that's okay. First, it's more about tuning your senses to this, and most people don't do this. Most people, when they're talking to someone, they're either listening and taking their words literally as the message or whatever it is they're trying to communicate, even though their nonverbals might be betraying that message. Or you're stuck in your own head thinking about what you want to say next or thinking about what it is you want to do somewhere else, doing something somewhere else. So you're not paying attention to them. When you start paying attention to people on this level, a few things will happen. I just have itchy nose today. A few things will happen. You will start to notice these messages that are coming through, and it'll show up in the form of intuition. This is a very primal way that we used to communicate before we had language. Before humans had language, we had to communicate through facial expressions and body posture and grunts and groans. And that is still part of us. So we do pick up the information when we tune our senses to this. The other thing that's going to happen is that person who you're communicating with, when you're looking beyond their words and you're listening beyond their words, they will feel seen and heard in a way that no one has else ever pays attention to them. So what is the result of that? You will build rapport and trust with this person rapidly. And it's amazing when this happens. And they will want to be around you more because they feel your attention and they will feel special and like you understand them better because you're not just listening to words or you're not stuck in your head thinking about what you want to do. You're really looking deeply into them. And how you do that is you pay attention to these things. You pay attention to skin tone, you pay attention to breathing, you pay attention to posture, to gestures. And if you're really paying close attention to this, you don't even have to match and mirror them consciously. You will match and mirror them automatically. That's a technique that we use in NLP to build rapport quickly. But a lot of times people put too much attention on themselves when they're trying to match and mirror someone else. They're trying to get it perfect. They're trying to sit just like them and move just like them. Put your attention on them first, and the matching and mirroring will come naturally. And if you've tried matching and mirroring and it didn't work, it was probably because you had too much attention on yourself. So you start watching for these nonverbals. That's where you start. It will be frustrating because you won't be getting the information or maybe the results that you're wanting right away, but stick with it. Like I said, it's more important that you're looking and listening first and foremost than actually seeing and hearing what you're looking and listening for. It will start to show up. And when it starts to show up, it's like stepping out of the matrix. You will be like, wow, you start getting this new information that you have not gotten before. It's like you suddenly understand a language you didn't understand before. And it's a language that most people aren't tuned into. When you start getting these intuitions, you can test them. You can just say to the person, "Hey, I just suddenly had this thought about you, and it's this," and it could just be anything, and the person will go, "Oh man, like how did you know that?" It's all I don't want to call it psychic, but it can have that feeling. You know, you get intuition sometimes, and sometimes your intuitions are right. Sometimes your intuitions are not right. I get into trouble with that one too. People want to fight me on that one when I say intuition isn't always correct. Intuition can be wrong. We like to think that our intuitions are always correct because it feels like suddenly we have this divine knowledge with this divine understanding about something that just seemed to come out of nowhere. But of course, it came from somewhere. You unconsciously picked up the information, you came to an understanding about something, or you made a decision about something, and then suddenly it becomes conscious. And so it seems like it comes out of nowhere. But no, you're information gathering all the time, conscious or unconsciously. And so and your unconscious mind will come up with insights, and then usually when that happens, it becomes conscious and you think the insight just kinda came out of nowhere. No, it's you and all of your unconscious processes are nonstop, and it's observing and it's listening, and it's feeding you this information. But when you into this consciously and you're able to pick up this information, you will start to notice when people are deceptive. And this is interesting because you'll notice when people are deceptive, you won't necessarily know if they're lying. What does that mean? Did I just contradict myself? Not really. Sometimes people lie to themselves. If you want something to be a certain way, if you're 200 pounds and you you want to be 180 pounds and you don't weigh yourself on purpose because you're afraid to know the truth. And so when someone asks you how much do you weigh, you say 180 when the truth is you weigh 200. That will show up as a deception. How will that show up? That'll be different for every person. But what you will see is some sort of way that the non-verbally, they have to reconcile that. So your conscious mind can lie, your nonverbals can't lie. They always tell the truth. And that's what makes it such powerful communication. Your nonverbal communication is far more powerful than your verbal communication. And receiving nonverbal communication, being able to understand it or witness it or consciously know it is far more powerful than just listening to someone's words. So when I would catch people being deceptive, they would say something and their body would normally go sort of asymmetrical or their eye would squint. I saw that one time. Or this woman was, I could tell everything that she was saying was not matching up with her body posture. She seemed incongruent about almost everything that she was saying. I was actually interviewing her to work for me. I had a job opening. And so finally I said, at the end of the interview, I said, is there anything that you want to add? And she launches off into this story. About her previous job, and she ends up with the conclusion of, you just can't trust people. I was like, well, that's a hell of a thing to say to someone who's looking at hiring you. But I could tell what was happening. It was almost like she wasn't even in control anymore. She had lied to me so much during the interview that the way that her unconscious had to reconcile this was to tell a story that later led her to the conclusion that you can't trust people. And what she was really telling me was I could not trust her. And that was the way her unconscious had to reconcile this. It was fascinating to be in this situation. So when you're reading these nonverbals, you will be amazed what comes up. And you can, like I said, you can test your intuitions. Ask the person, hey, I just had an intuition about you, and then say it. Now, what does this all have to do with manipulation? Can be extremely manipulative when you're receiving this unconscious information, these nonverbals. The person doesn't realize they're communicating this to you, and you're getting this information. So yes, you can do some really bad things with this, or you can do some really good things with this. Of course, I'm going to recommend that you do really good things with this, because when you do really bad things to people and you're deceptive and you don't fulfill your promises, your unconscious doesn't know the difference between you and other people. So you will start turning this on yourself. You will start being self-deceiving. You won't fulfill commitments and promises to yourself. So this is never never use this to hurt people. Never use this to try to connect negativity, pain, or suffering to them doing what you don't want them to do. Um, that's bad. Always use positivity, always use incentive. What I say is that how you can kind of use this in a manipulative way that I think is okay is when you're persuading and influencing and you know what this person wants, you've maybe elicited their values, you start creating that vision of where you want them to go, but it's based on their values, so it's where they wanna go too, and you start packaging it in whatever it is that you're selling, and I mean selling in any way that you take that, like selling a product or selling yourself. It could even be for dating. You package what you're selling in their values, and you create that vision for them, a vision beyond the discomfort of having to pay whatever money that you're asking them to buy whatever it is from you, and then you can say, "Or," but you can stay just like you are and not buy this or not do this. And then they'll go, "Well, no, I wanna go in the direction of that vision that you just painted for me. I wanna go there." And so you could maybe make the argument that that's using negativity but it's not really. It's basically saying, "Here's where I can take you, but if you don't go there, then you're stuck with where you are." What I mean by not using negativity and anything bad, people have tried this. NLPers are known for doing this, and I don't mean all of them, just some of them, and that's why NLP has a bad reputation of using fear and pain and connecting it to this, if say in a sales situation, it's either buy and here's all these positive things, but if you don't buy, connecting fear, pain, and lots of negativity to not buying, that's bad. That'll hurt you. It'll hurt the other person. It'll hurt you. So don't do that. All right. Let's see if there's any questions real quick. Always stay on much longer than I expect. Yulia. Glad to see and hear you. Glad you're on, Alexandra. Let's see. Okay, no real questions. That's cool. Glad you're all on. Uh, really enjoy talking about this a lot. I love this subject. I could talk about it for hours and hours, obviously. And if you want more, if you want to go deeper with this, if you want guidance with me in going deeper with this and really understanding this stuff and making it a part of you, making it a part of your life so it comes naturally and you can set goals, achieve goals, become more successful, become happier, more fulfilled, create the world you want to live in, create the life you want to live in, and influence everyone in it. Learn NLP, join my NLP online practitioner course, and we'll take this deeper together. And if you're not ready to do that, that is cool. At least hit like and subscribe to this channel and check out my other videos. I got lots of videos. I got almost 600 of them. So join me one way or the other. All right. Take care, everybody.